Panginoong Diyos, itinataas namin ang iyong pangalan. Pinapupurihan at pinasasalamatan ka namin sa lahat ng iyong mga ginawa at pagpapala. Salamat sa panibagong araw na ipinagkaloob mo sa amin. At sa oras na ito na kami ay muling natipon. Gabayan ninyo po kami sa aming mga gawain. Bigyan mo po kami ng talino at lakas upang magampanan po namin ang aming mga tungkulin. Buksan mo po ang aming isip at puso sa mga bagong kaalaman na aming matututunan. At nawa ay maging kagamit-gamit ang mga ito sa aming buhay at sa pagtulong sa aming kapwa. Ikaw po nawa ang maluwalhati sa lahat ng aming katagumpayan sa araw na ito. Ito lamang po ang aming dalangin sa pangalan ni Jesus. Amen.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas. Hayang magiliw, telas ng sigahanan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, kuya ka ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisitin, sa nagatak tutok sa simoy at sa langit mong pagaw, ay hinatang tulad, awit sa paglayang minamahal, ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na naghihiling, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pang ay di magtitingin. Araw ng walang pansinta, buhay langit sa piling mo, ang hindi kaya ng pagkay magamin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Thank you. With the presence of our, please be seated. With the presence of our Deputy Majority Leader, the Honorable J.B. Hercito, as well as the Deputy Minority Leader, Senator Risa Hontiveros, as well as some senators virtually present. We have a quorum. The Senate Blue Ribbon Committee is now in order. Committee Secretary, can you acknowledge the resource persons as well as the guests present here today?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Can I proceed? Present for today's hearing, Honorable Chairman, are the following: representing the Office of the President, the Honorable Executive Secretary and former Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the Philippines, the Honorable Lucas P. Bersamin. Is attending this
Like to
hearing.
acknowledge the presence likewise of Senator Ronald De La Rosa. General Counsel.
Yes. The Honorable Executive Secretary is here with Undersecretary Leonardo Roy Cervantes. Present today representing the Department of Agriculture is Assistant Secretary James Layug. Representing the Department of Trade and Industry are the following: Attorney Melquiades Marcos N. Valdez and Mr. Joel Buwag. The National Economic Development Authority, Your Honor, is represented by Undersecretary Crystal Lin Tan Uy.
Get around? Is she around? Hi, yes, I'm sorry.
The Bureau of Customs, Your Honor, is represented here by its Commissioner, Commissioner Bienvenido Y. Rubio. The Sugar Regulatory Administration, Your Honor, is represented by the Acting Administrator and Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Pablo Luis S. Ascuna. As Miller's representative and board member of the association, Ms. Maria Mitzi Mangwag is present. Representing the All Asian Counter Trade Incorporated is its CEO and beneficial owner, Mr. Michael Escalera. Representing Mega Qmart, formerly a vendor in Mega Qmart, Ms. Carissa Gumba. Representing the Philippine Food Processors and Exporters Organization, or PhilFoodEx, is its current president, Mr. Ruben C.
Why are you seated in the gallery section? You're supposed to be a resource person. Paige, can you assist the resource person?
Yes, Your Honor. The last on the list, Your Honor, Mr. Chairman, is Mr. Manuel Lamata, President of United Sugar Producers Federation, or UNIFED. Those are all present, Your Honor, Mr. Chairman.
I noticed the absence of several invited resource persons, notably members of the cabinet, who should have been here, and they would have given critical information and testimony. I noticed likewise specifically the absence of Secretary Arsenio Balisacan, the absence of the former SRA Administrator David John Alba, likewise the absence of Secretary Alfredo E. Pascual of the Department of Trade and Industry, as well as the glaring absence of Undersecretary Panganiban of the Department of Agriculture. Before we administer the oath, may we know from the good executive secretary the reasons for the whereabouts of all the resource persons I just mentioned. If you can apprise this committee, Mr. Executive Secretary, bakit po wala sila ngayon sa araw ng pagdinig na ito? You have the floor.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of this committee. Secretary Balisacan is presently in Vancouver because of a prior scheduled trip. He will be away for until May 11. Secretary Pascual is right now in Indonesia attending to a ministerial level conference, and he will be there until the ASEAN summit, which will be for up to May 11 also, Your Honor. As to Undersecretary of Agriculture Panganiban, he is right now in Washington, D.C. on official mission. All of these three, Your Honor, would have come here if the schedule were different. But it happens that their trips coincided with our meeting today.
So, ES Bersamin, pero nagpapasalamat kami at nandito ka. But just the same, hindi po natin mahalukay po yung ilalaman nito kung wala po yung mga nabanggit ko. So, they are vital to the investigation that this committee will be undertaking. Kaya mahihirapan po siguro tayong tumuloy kung wala sila. Although maraming naririto sa inyo, we will be requiring you to take your oath as well as affirm the contents of your affidavits submitted, if you have submitted. And then I will discuss with the members of this committee how to proceed. But nakakalungkot po yan na pangalawang hearing na ho natin ito na sana ay masimula na at matapos na Sana masimula na at matapos na. Ganun pa man, sa mga naririto, magkakaroon pa tayo ng susunod na pagdinig kasama yung mga nabanggit ko na wala ngayon. Mr. Executive Secretary, may papangako po ba natin na sa susunod na pagdinig ay dadalo na sila?
Yes, I think so, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. The Undersecretary of Agriculture will be in Washington until May 13. If we could schedule his appearance after that, he will be available. As to Secretary Pascual and Secretary Balisacan, I think the same is true for them. The Executive Secretary, Your Honor, will always be at your disposal.
Maraming salamat. Maraming salamat, Executive Secretary. Pero Executive
Mr.
Secretary,
Chair.
although he is no longer part of the government bureaucracy, si Mr. David Alba, former acting administrator of the Sugar Regulatory Administration, submitted a letter. I have a photocopy in my possession. Siya naman po ay humihingi ng paumanhin na hindi siya makakadalo ngayon dahil siya ay nasa Australia hanggang June for personal reasons. Ito po ba ay matutulungan nyo kami na si Mr. Alba ay makadalo rin dito sa pagdinig ng Blue Ribbon Committee?
I am just presuming, Your Honor, that his being away in Australia right now must have been due to health reasons. Because he resigned his position due to being in dire health condition. We tried to convince him to stay on, but he just wanted to undergo some processes. We cannot tell when he will be due, but if his letter says
June.
he can return by June, I don't see any reason why he will not appear here after he arrives.
Thank you, Mr. Executive Secretary.
Mr. Chair.
Senator Hontiveros, is this an opening statement or?
Not yet, Mr. Chair,
Not yet.
in line with the
Yes.
points of the chair so far. Salamat, Chair. I'm glad to hear na sisiguruhin na in the next hearing, Yusek Panganiban will be here as well as the chair has directed former Administrator Alba. Kung maari po, Chair, sa susunod na hearing, nandito rin po yung CONFED. I'm glad that UNIFED is also here through Mr. Lamata, but I hope that in the next hearing, CONFED, which is actually even bigger, will also be here, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. The committee secretary, general counsel, take note of that.
Salamat, Chair.
Sa ngayon po, what we can do administratively is to administer your oath. Para sa susunod, hindi na. And then the administration of the oath, likewise, will cover those who submitted their sworn statements, and that will likewise be an affirmation of the earlier submitted affidavits. So dalawa po yun. It can be done. Do you want me to administer the oath or the general counsel will administer the oath? Can I request all the resource persons present here to please rise for the oath?
Your Honor, Mr. Chair, there's one additional resource person that arrived, Your Honor. Mr. Christian Emmanuel Alvarado of Sapden, Philippines.
Can you raise your hand? Bakit nandyan po kayo? Dito po kayo sa loob, sir. Baka meron pa tayong mga resource persons na nasa gallery. Pakitaas lang yung kamay. You're not supposed to be there. Dito po dapat kayo sa loob. Taas po inyong kanang kamay at sumunod sa General Counsel ng Blue Ribbon Committee.
Ma'am, taas po ng kamay, ma'am. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in these official proceedings? Okay, thank you po, Your Honor.
Can you add, do you affirm the contents
Yes.
and veracity of your previously submitted sworn statement, if there are any?
Yes, in addition, and if any, do you affirm and attest to the truth and veracity of all the allegations and statements in your sworn affidavit submitted to the Blue Ribbon Committee. Thank you, Your Honor.
Maraming salamat po. Maraming salamat po. Maraming salamat, Mr. Executive Secretary, dun sa pangako nyo na sa susunod, dadalhin nyo na, pipilitin nyo makasama rito yung ilang mga miyembro ng gabinete na wala ngayon. Subalit, nung binanggit nyo yon, Mr. Executive Secretary, hindi pa ho kayo under oath. Wala naman epekto yon. Word of honor po yon.
We will exert effort to ensure the appearance of all the relevant resource persons. This committee will require us to invite, or which this committee invites.
Salamat po. The committee is inclined to proceed with a discontinuance pursuant to Section 17 and 18 of the rules governing investigations. The committee likewise is taking notice of Article 6, Section 5 of the rules of the Blue Ribbon Committee, wherein the absence of vital witnesses can lead to a postponement until further notice of an investigation. But before we postpone, I seek the consent of my colleagues here. Kasi kulang po wala po dito, wala tayong mapapatunguhan dito. Pero humihingi po ako ng paumanhin sa ating mga kasama rito. Gusto ko lang, naka-under oath na naman, gusto ko lang abalahin ng kaunti ito si Miss Carissa Gimba. Naabala kayo, lahat po nang nandito ay nakabarong Tagalog. Kayo po ay galing sa palengke. Gusto ko lang po malaman, gusto rin malaman ng committee ito, ano po ngayon ang presyo ng asukal? Magkano ang asukal? Magkano ang asukal ng isang linggo? Magkano ang asukal? Teka po. Magkano ang asukal ng isang buwan? At magkano ang asukal kanina bago kayo umalis sa palengke? Pakisagot lang yan para hindi ko na kayo papupuntahin dito sa susunod.
Yung wash sugar po, di pa po siya gumalaw since January hanggang ngayon po, 85 po per kilo. Yun po yung tinatawag na segunda. Pag masyado pong mahal yung white sugar, nagko-convert po sa wash. Kasi mas mura po siya.
Noong January, yun na yung presyo.
Yes po.
Noong December, ano yung presyo?
Medyo mataas pa po noong December. Nagre-range po siya sa 90.
So bumaba.
Yes po.
Ano pang klase yung ibang asukal?
Yung light brown po, 80 po per kilo.
Yan, kailan yan?
Ngayon po, kasalukuyan po, noong January po, 85. Bumaba din po.
Noong December?
Mga 90 po ang kilo.
Bumaba rin.
Yes po.
May tubo pa kayo ron?
Medyo matagal lang po kasi yung isang sako po, matagal pong maubos.
So tingi-tingi lang yung tinda nyo?
Yes po. Kilo po 1/2 saka 1/4. Tapos yung medyo mahal lang po yung dark sugar.
Ano ba yung dark sugar?
Yung dark sugar po yung ginagamit sa mga sauce. Yung mga sauce ng fishball, yung banana cube po. Tapos yung sasagot gulaman. Yun po, 95 po.
Bakit mas mahal yan? Kaya pala mahal lang sago.
Yes po. Mas mahal po talaga siya. Tapos, ano po, mas gusto din po nila yun, lalo na yung mga nagki-cater po.
Ano palengke nyo?
Mega Q-Mart po.
Quezon City.
Yes po.
Sa Maynila, ganun din ang presyo.
Hindi ko lang po sigurado, sir, kung ganun po yung...
Baka sa'yo lang mahal.
Hindi po, sir.
Meron naman kayong asosasyon ng...
Yes po. Sumusunod naman po sa presyo.
Nabanggit ko lang yan at humingi ako ng pahintulot sa aking mga kasamahan dito para malaman natin yung talagang tunay na presyo ng asukal na ginagamit sa mga tahanan, na hindi pa tayo napupunta dun sa mga katagang inflation, hindi pa tayo napupunta ron. So, huling tanong, mahal ba ngayon ang asukal o mababa?
Bumaba po.
Mababa asukal.
Yes po.
Pag may dumarating sa inyong asukal, Nalalaman niyo ba kung ito ay imported o galing lang sa Bacolod o sa Negros?
Ano po, local po talaga yung tinda sa palengke. Dito po sa atin. Hindi po kami nagtitinda ng imported.
Ano malalaman kung imported yun o hindi?
Yung mga nakalagay po sa sako, may mga label po yon. Yung wash sugar po namin, bais.
Sa
Yes
Negros?
po. Opo.
Negros Oriental.
Yes po. Yung light brown po, La Carlota. Tapos yung dark sugar po, Sunedco.
Salamat.
Thank you po.
Kumbaga sa hearing na to, patikim lang yan unless may tanong pa yung ating mga kasamahan. But the position of the committee is to go for a discontinuance. We will postpone this hearing unless some of you would voluntarily issue statements even without being asked. So, kailangan po nandito si Yusek Panganiban, pangako po ni Executive Secretary. Sasamahan niyo pa rin ho, Executive Secretary, pag pumunta siya dito o
I will be available at your convenience, Your Honor, because I had also a role to play in this. Some of my memorandums have been cited. I'm not going to shy away from the hearing if you require me to appear here.
But we don't want to bother your day-to-day activities. Likewise, Mr. Executive Secretary. So, without objections.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, bago po posibleng may mag-volunteer sa chair na magsasalita sila, before the committee discontinues this long-awaited and now to be discontinued hearing, maaari po bang mag-deliver ng opening statement?
If you will deliver an opening statement, perhaps the other senators here present would likewise, should likewise be given a chance to deliver an opening statement, and it will form part of the records of this committee without prejudice to this committee declaring a discontinuance. You may do so, Senator Hontiveros.
Salamat, Mr.
How
Chair.
long will that be without?
Perhaps 4 minutes maximum, Mr. Chair. Anyway,
You have the floor.
long-awaited po nating lahat. Salamat po, Mr. Chair, itong hearing. So magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. This whole fracas is about government through DA Undersecretary, Senior Undersecretary Panganiban, granting import allocations to only 3 importers: All Asian Countertrade Inc., Sukden Philippines, and Edison Lee Marketing Corp., covering a total import volume of 440,000 metric tons of sugar. At this point, I wish to express my serious disappointment that Undersecretary Panganiban is not here. Gusto kong ipaliwanag nila kung bakit nila napili ang 3 importer na ito. Gusto kong sabihin nila sa harap ng sambayanan kung bakit nila naisip na pwedeng mag-angkat na walang sugar order. Gusto kong malaman kung bakit matapos sabihin ng Senado ng isang sugar order ay dapat hindi defective, dapat hindi basta-basta pumipirma ang USEC nang walang malinaw na pahintulot ng Pangulo na dapat dumaan sa board ng management ng SRA ang mga importation. Bigla-biglang, at the behest of an undersecretary, pwede na basta magpasok ng asukal sa kanyang mga piniling importer? At pwede silang mag-act in haste without facing any consequences in the civil service? Higit sa lahat, gusto ko sanang matanong si Yusek Panganiban, saan sila humuhugot ng tapang? Sino ang nagbibigay ng go signal? May mga mataas na opisyal ba na dapat managot dito? O may nagbibida-bida lang at gumawa ng sariling desisyon? And I want to ask these questions, Mr. Chair, in full view of the public, sa harap ng sambayanang Pilipino, the way we did for the first sugar hearing. They will tell you there were good reasons for choosing the 3. Maglalabas sila ng mga resolution of support, statements of confidence, at kung ano-ano pa para sa All Asian, Sukden, at Edison Lee. All Asian Countertrade that had a history of smuggling during the period of 1998 to 2000. Sukden that, according to an independent audit report dated 2022, as a capital deficiency of $394,103 and 35,007 and $35,784, quote, resulting from continuing losses, close quote, which, according to the report, quote, raises doubt on the company's ability to continue as a going concern, close quote. I have a copy of this audit report, Mr. Chair, and I'm here ready to flash this and provide copies as well to all of you, dear colleagues. Friends, in previous sugar orders, there were always several importers given import allocations. Malimit, mga 20, even more. And there was a clear basis for the allocation. Pero ngayon po, 3 lang for a total import of 440,000 metric tons. Para namang sila lang ang mga anak ng Diyos. And you know how crazy big this is? Mr. Chair, ang kailangan nilang bunuin na performance bond ay bilyong-bilyong piso. But wait, there's more. Para di naman siguro masyadong pagpawisan itong ating 3 importer, the performance bond was waived for them. A performance bond which guarantees that providers will deliver goods to the Filipino people in timely and satisfactory fashion was waived for them. Here it is, Mr. Chair. I cannot remember the last time that the performance bond was waived. It is bad enough that this huge amount of sugar is to be handled by only 3 importers, 3 hand-picked importers. This would already have raised eyebrows from a policy perspective. What is worse is that a portion of this shipment was allowed in even before a sugar order. This is so irregular that it was even flagged by the Department of Agriculture through Assistant Secretary James Layug. Here is the letter. And by the Bureau of Customs, which issued a warrant of seizure and detention. So these 3 points are clear, Mr. Chair. 1, the undeniable truth that there was no sugar order establishing a sugar importation program between the period of October 20th, 2022 and February 14th, 2023. 2, a sugar importation program reposed in a sugar order is a necessary prerequisite to importation. That was established in the first Blue Ribbon hearing, in which the issue was only whether or not an SO is defective for not having been signed by the President. Ito, wala talaga. And 3, any sugar importation above 1 million pesos without a sugar order is considered large-scale agricultural smuggling in violation of Republic Act number 10845. Kung mismong opisyal ng gobyerno ang nagpapasimuno ng padrino at favoritism, gaya na lang ng pagpili lamang ng 3 kumpanya para mag-import ng 440,000 metric tons ng asukal bago pa mailabas ang lehitimong sugar order. Paano pa tayo magtitiwala na ang ginagawa nila ay para sa kapakanan ng bawat Pilipino? But the larger policy issues should not remain uninterrogated. Ginawang 3 lang ang maaaring mag-angkat ng asukal, giving them not just super profits, but an opportunity to control sugar prices. Imbes na binuksan sa madaming players, hinayaang pakyawin ng 3. Imbes na fair competition, monopolyo. Unregulated private monopolies are given the power over what used to be competitive markets. Imbes na magmura ang presyo ng asukal, baka tayo ang mapamura sa paglipad ng presyo at sa napakalaking kita ng mga gahamang ito. Bakit consumer ang magtitiis?
Bakit ang ordinaryong Pilipino ang matatamaan? Mr. Chair, dear friends, I would like to close by quoting from the committee report of the Blue Ribbon, which was approved in plenary and presumably bears the wisdom of the Senate. The Senate recommended measures to, and I quote, prevent collusion between SRA, importers, and other unscrupulous persons. Page 56 of the transcript. Dahil ang pagtingin po ng ating Senado, hindi talaga maganda ang collusion o ang sabwatan. Kaya ang pinakamahalaga ko sigurong tanong, totoo po ba ang photo na ito? At kung totoo, kailan ito kinuha? Mr. Chair, I really hope that we get to the bottom of the issues in this hearing. From the evidence I've seen so far, it seems to me a case of ignorance or violation of our laws by government implementers at best and state-sponsored smuggling at worst. Salamat po, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Hontiveros. Senator De La Rosa, do you have a statement?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have no any statement.
Senator JB Ejercito.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a very brief statement because these two, I'm the principal author of two of the laws no, that are will be applicable, so to speak, in this hearing. Number one is the Anti-Agricultural Smuggling Law, which was enacted in 2016, RA 10845, and the Sugarcane Industry Development Act, or RA 10659, acted in 2015. Ang tanong ko lang, Mr. Chair, that 7 years and 8 years after the passage of these two measures, nasa na po ba tayo? Doon po sa Anti-Agricultural Smuggling Law, 2016, now it's 2023, 7 years after its passage, parang wala pa rin ako naririnig na talagang mga big fish na nahuhulit na papakulong o nakakasuhan. Siyempre po, itong Sugarcane Industry Development Act was designed to revitalize, to strengthen the local sugarcane industry. In fact, this is one of the first laws that I was able to pass in 2015. This is very much close to my heart because my mother hails from Negros. As we all know, Negros is one of the probably the top sugar producing province. And after 7 years, had the agencies implemented properly the Anti-Agricultural Smuggling Law and the Sugarcane Industry Development Act, the sugarcane industry in Negros would have been in a better position right now. Ang nakakalungkot, Mr. Chair, bagamat pa sa po natin ang Anti-Agricultural Smuggling Law, after that, parang naging namihasa na, nasanay na sa kaka-import. Na wala na yung smuggling, ang problema naman importation. That's why, ang tanong ko lang, nasaan na tayo? So, and I concur with the chair that we need to postpone this hearing because I would have asked a lot of questions also with Yusip Panganiban and the others who are not here. But I'm hoping that after this hearing, Mr. Chair, given that the President himself is very much concerned with the agricultural industry's production, we really have to get to the bottom of this. If we are to strengthen our local industry, from sugar to rice and other agricultural industry. And also, I'd like to thank in advance, Mr. Chair, CS is here. I told him that my amendments to the Anti-Agricultural Smuggling Law, which will now include profiteering, hoarding, and cartels, is already certified as an urgent measure. But again, Mr. Chair, I concur with your decision that we have to postpone this hearing so that we will we will get to the bottom of this. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Deputy Majority Leader. Again,
Mr. Chairman,
invoking the rules of this committee,
Mr.
Article
Chairman.
6, Section 5, and reiterating that the findings of this committee will not be based on speculations, but on the merits, the evidence presented, not the weakness of the defense. And without objections on the part of my colleagues,
Mr. Chairman,
this committee
Mr.
hearing
Chairman,
is hereby postponed
Mr. Chairman.
until further notice. Thank you for your attendance.
Ayaw ko pansinin, boy.
Sir, we just postponed the hearing.
Sige, okay. Thank you.